Hello everyone. So I have three powders with me. One pressed, another one is the loose powder, and another one is very fine powder. Okay, the pressed one I have right now with me is the Maybelline Fit Me in the shade 330 Toffee powder. This one is matte. The other one I have here is a very old packaging of the M.A.C loose powder. It's in the shade NC20. Another one is from Innisfree. This one is a natural mineral very fine white powder. So I'm going to show you all these three products and let's start. This one comes with a mirror, but that mirror is underneath this, so that's a little annoying. What you have to do is you'll have to open this, take out this is not the sponge which I got with this. The other one was dirty, and so this is the one that comes with this small one, thin and soft. Press it here and then look here, press it here, look here. But that packaging wise, that's the problem. The problem with this packaging is I don't like this, pouring. I mean, where do I pour it? I mean, if I pour it in this and then close it back, this powder going to be all over this place, and when I open it, it's going to fall off. So basically, this is not travel friendly. Most of the loose powders are like this. Okay, if you talk about the Maybelline Fit Me loose powder, if you talk about the K-Beauty ones, this is the Innisfree one. It has a sponge like this that comes with classic sponge that we used to use back in the day, and then this is also the same thing, but then you can at least apply the powder like this and put it all over your face, right? That's still better packaging, but just because it has a sponge. Application wise, this one you can use the sponge. You can also use a brush. Sorry, not this brush. This one I used the PAC 245. Only difference between a sponge and a brush is obviously the sponge is going to take a lot of product. Depending on the type of sponge, it's going to apply less or more product, because if the sponge is sucking out more of the product, it's going to apply less. This one, of course, it's not going to apply that much. It's going to be very light coverage compared to a loose powder. The coverage obviously is going to be more. Now when it comes to a loose powder, I feel the best application to use a loose powder these days is to have a damp beauty blender. Take it and it sets like magic, and it does not move at all. You can use a brush also for this. It'll be a light coverage, but it's going to use all of the powder that is on your brush onto your skin, right? You know the difference. So you see the difference that I'm talking about. The coverage, the application, wet or dry, it all depends on what you're using, right? There are no such rules. What I prefer is, since this is a lighter shade and it's a loose powder, in the areas where it would crease, I want to use a loose powder because it would set it like crazy. So I use the loose powders on my T-zones, like under my eyes, here where it cakes out, under my chin where it gets too oily, and here. This one I use it for the rest of the, if I really feel like my skin is too oily, I use this. Otherwise I just skip the rest of the face and not set it at all. Just whatever's left of the beauty sponge or the brush, I twirl it around my face. I got this mainly to highlight my highlighted areas and not to powder the entire face, because it's much lighter than my natural skin tone. A compact can be used when you don't have the time to apply a foundation or a concealer, or one of them, and you just want to quickly put on some coverage. So you use a compact for that, and this compact helps in a lot of coverage. I've been using this almost many years. I think this is my third or fourth, because every day you can't sit and take out a wet damp beauty sponge and the loose powder, right? I do that only for occasions. If your skin is oily, I would suggest use a loose powder because it is great. And if you have the time, use a damp beauty sponge if you don't, use a brush. But I would suggest the best, if you ask me, out of these two is these both, a damp beauty sponge and some loose powder. I'm going to show you the difference. I'm going to show you the application, how you do it, and maybe how it shows up by the rest of the day. It all depends on the type of products you're using, but the way you apply it also matters, right? If you have a lot of texture on your face, bumpiness, up and down, pores and all that, the loose powder is going to fill in your texture, it's going to make it smooth, right? Whereas the compact may not fill in your texture completely. It's gonna just stay on top without going inside your textures. That is why they say when you're using a compressed compact powder, you gotta press it and not drag it, so that the most product is going inside your texture of your skin, right? Okay. The coverage of the compact powder is going to be high, but if you're going to use a brush, you can lessen the coverage if you want, because if you don't want it too cakey, you can use a brush. Otherwise, you can use a compact. The coverage of this one totally depends on how you're using. Again, if you're using a brush, it's going to be a little light, but if you use a wet beauty sponge, it's going to be mad coverage. Between the K-Beauty one and the Maybelline one. The K-Beauty lighter coverage compared to the Maybelline one, so the Maybelline one is pretty good, and the price wise also Maybelline one is better because you get 10 grams of K-Beauty one, but the Maybelline loose powder is 20 grams. Previously, I used to just wear a compact and go to work every day. So I've used a lot of them. The first one I started using is the Color Bar one. That one was a medium coverage because they were affordable and also they were good quality. And then I started using the Maybelline Fit Me. But for occasions, I used to use the M.A.C compressed powders. Those ones are the excellent, obviously M.A.C, right? But it is really good. I mean, it's very high coverage, almost like it is actually a foundation press powder. That's what it's called. Same, I used to use it in NC45. So I've just applied a foundation. I've used the Sugar Cosmetics in the shade Romano, and what concealer? I used the, what did I use? The PAC Twisted Coffee, and I did my eyebrows. That's it. Like you can see, my skin is pretty oily, and also that foundation is a bit dewy and not matte. So I've used that purposely because we're using a lot of powders now, so I wanted to show you how it sets dewy skin, oily skin, combination skin, whatever it is. I'm first gonna take off all the creases. That's what you gotta do before you apply any powder. Okay, first powder. Because what if you apply a powder directly on the crease? It's going to build up even more, right? So what I'm going to do is this side I'll apply the compact and this side I'll apply the loose powder, and you can see the difference by the end of the day or even now, right now. See, that's how the product comes off. It's a lot of product that has gone into the sponge. See this? That's the coverage it gives. So press it, don't drag it. The shade difference between this one and the M.A.C one is going to be very different because they're different shades. What you got to look at is how the product is staying and not the shade. Okay. Now, for example, if you want to use a brush, this is how it comes. Okay, you can use most of the product. Okay, on this, I'll show you here. You can already see the difference, how the matte and the oily side. We'll use the loose powder, which is my favorite. Putting some here like this. This application, you will also know how a lighter shade powder can highlight your face, how the powder has basically gone into the texture of your skin. If you can look at the coverage, I feel this side is more compared to this, right? But if you want that smooth, clear finish, the powder is better because this one looks like it's all blocked up, right? Like you put a lot of product on your face. Also, I said don't go by the shade because obviously this is lighter than this. If you ask me, I have all the patience in the world to use loose powder with a damp beauty sponge, at least to highlight my under eyes. I have got addicted to that. I'm going to show you the application of this just for the heck of it. And the only times I use it is when I travel and I need a quick. This one is really good if you want to quickly take out from your bag and mattify your skin. This one is very fine, okay, pretty much like a Pond's powder. That's why I don't use it that much, because it's travel friendly, user friendly. Basically, it all depends on your situation. Yeah, all depends on that. Oh my god, it's too white. It's so smooth also, honestly. When you touch my skin, it's like satin silky, and it's natural also. So the difference what I found is that there's not much actually. This side has not creased that much compared to this, as in because this has a lot of product, right? And it is not like wet, sunk and set. But that's why I feel this has more set properly than this side. So, and then you can also see that this side has gotten a little more oilier compared to this. This is more matte. That's it, yeah. I hope this video helped you. If you like, please subscribe, like, share. Bye.